What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo.
Canadian
I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you.
Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
Presented by Scott Credit Union. Yours.
Guess I was supposed to say BlueNote Fan Report, but nobody's watching. So, hey, this is impromptu. I get that maybe no one's catching it, no one's watching. That's fine. Hopefully, a couple people will notice that I'm live and going for it. If you have been in the Blue Note or the Hawaii STL Blues fan clan, we have had a conversation going on in there. And with the finals going on right now and what's happening in the finals, this conversation is very, very relevant. And I want to try and bring up that conversation. So you got to give me a moment. I haven't been doing shows. I haven't been feeling it. I'll be honest. And I'm trying to be a little more active in the group. I'd like to grow the group. It's about 670 members. I'd like to see it in the thousands and thousands and thousands, but I know it's not going to happen. But I'm trying to get a little more active. Here we go. I'm trying to find it. Okay, here we go. It started with the post by Stephen Glass, right? And we'll kind of go over it here in a second. Trying to bring things up, so give me a moment. All right, hopefully, it'll show what we need it to show here. So here's the post by Stephen Glass. And the post in and of itself had said, Blues free agent, check this out, Blues free agent. Sorry, my contacts have been bothering me lately. I think I scratched an eyeball a little while ago. Blues free agent, Hoffer, Fosca, and Suter. Well, Hoffer's an RFA. Forgot to put that in there. And then he goes, free agents after next season, Leddy, Fowler, Boberg, RFA, Joseph, Holloway, RFA, Texier, RFA, Sundqvist, and Walker. They may end up making trades, given Holloway and Boberg will need deals. Correct. Holloway and Boberg need deals sometime during the next season. So it's not like they need to be signed right now, right? And then I want to go down to the comments. This was a really good, a really, really good conversation, right? I said he's an RFA. I said Joseph, Texier, and Sundqvist will not be re-signed. Walker might. Leddy and Fowler will depend, and it says Ben, but depend on how prospects work out. I think that's important. Fowler, actually, Fowler, I think, is going to get re-signed. And then we had a little subcontract on there. Walker, Samantha Robinson said Walker will definitely re-sign. My comment to that was, I believe the Blues will Stephen Glass says, I believe the Blues will sign Fowler. The rest they may let go. And I said Fowler will resign. Lance Scott says Fowler will resign if the term and dollars are up to what he wants. He said he's having a good year this season and will most likely test free agency. Maybe not. And then Sam Mazzella said, I could see a 1-year contract for Fosca depending on how free agency goes. My thing with Fosca, and there was a huge thing here where we talked about it. My thing with Fosca is for $3.5 million, a fourth line center. No. Right? Matt Lowe says Hoffer, Bullberg, and Holloway are 100. Well, I'll tell you what. The way this finals is going, right? The way the finals is going, I'm finding it harder to I'm finding it harder for the Blues to sign Hoffer. Now, me and Lance have had a discussion going on in the group. Lance doesn't think he'll get offered first round money. I do. Right? Lance had sent me something. I'm going to see if I can find it in the group. I'll go back. Let me go back here. And Lance makes a really good point there. We'll talk about it here in a second. Let me see if I can see more stuff here. Here it is. Stephen Glass posted it. So these are the compensation for the AAV of the contract. Right? Anything over $1.5 million is a third round pick. Anything over $2.3 million is a second round pick. Anything over 4.6 is a first and a third round pick. Right there, I'm starting to think you're in first. He's in that money. I think Hoffer is it. I think the offer to get Hoffer is going to be $5 million. Now, Stephen Glass, I don't know if he knows that I'm live or not. Oh, he does. There he is. Well, here you go. Their window is closing. Now, the reason I'm doing this is we had this big conversation in the chat, and I'm bringing that up a little bit. Shen's not going to let go. Sonny, I don't see Fault getting let go either, Jeff. Right? To be honest. Right? There's a couple of things that I'm noticing from this finals. Right? And it affects the Blues. First of all, right? I will say this absolutely. Hockey is an offensive game. It's not the defensive game that everybody thinks it is. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it in these finals. Right? When these teams play defense, they lose. When they come out in defensive mindsets, they ended up losing. It's when they come out in solid offense that they've done the best. Also, we're seeing that you need. Now, you got to understand this with this next statement is that I'm looking at it through an electron microscope. The worst goalie in the NHL is an extremely above average goalie. Okay? But in NHL terms, you need an above average goalie. Ryan disagree. I guess he's disagreeing about the defensive part. Doesn't surprise me. We've got 4.6 though, and another 6.5 when Kruger goes on LTI. Well, Matt Lowe, that's a misnomer. We'll talk about that. Got to conserve enough for Holloway and Boberg, but I don't see anyone. Well, hold on. With Holloway and Boberg, that's next season. That's not this season. Everyone's thinking that that's this season's money. It's not. Has nothing to do with this season's money. Right? Holloway and Boberg should not go into your. Okay, and where is he right now? We got lucky winning the cup defensively. Right? Being defensive cost Toronto the series. Right? You might win a cup once every 20 years with the defensive coach. Got to consider next year's RFAs when signing people. No, you don't. In fact, I think I think you need to be short-sighted. Oh, what a save by Boberg. Right? Oh, my goodness. If we were a little better. Well, in karate, that works. In a street fight, that works. Oh, actually, I thought he saved it and he didn't. Oh, I thought he saved that. And actually, the puck missed the net. But that low, he would have saved it if it would have been in. Oh, man. Ranger, I wish you would come on with me. I would love to have this debate with you because I don't. I don't think so at all. If that's the case, in 20, we would have won. And we wouldn't have gone downhill like we did. Hold on. You're overthinking this, Matt. No, Shaggy, I'm talking free agency and the finals. If you want to come on with me, buddy. Next season, you're losing a lot more players. The money's going to be there for them. The money is absolutely going to be there for them. Right? No. See, Ranger, there's something there's that is the perception that the media put out there, but that's not what happened. Chief, the great Chief destroyed that locker room. He absolutely destroyed that locker room. He destroyed Kyrou. He absolutely destroyed Kyrou. He destroyed Tarasenko. He took a lot of really good offensive players and ruined their games. Ruined them. I you know what? Yes. Now that I'll agree with. Yes. When you play offense in the NHL, you are not playing defense. Don't need to be there. Puck control. Oh man, Shaggy, help. I'm looking at this, and what would you pay? Let me put this up. What would you pay Hoffer? Now, yeah, he had a bad year. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if there was an injury or something else, right? I disagree, Monty. should get CA, definitely has an assistant credit, I guess. Montgomery? Yeah. Well, when Montgomery left, this team fell apart. When we had no offensive mind, this team fell apart. Well, see, that I wanted to bring that up. You brought something up about this. He says, so I think there are teams that could see Hoffer as a starter and try and seal him away. Hoffer is a starter. He's not being a starter, but he is. He played just under 40% of the Blues games this season. Right? He played 31 games, had 16 wins, was 264 or 264 and a 900 save percentage. I think over a season, over a full season, double that, if you get 60 games, 50 to 60 games, I think that those numbers do come down a little bit. Right? I do think that he is in a starter position. Now will team see how our previous backup did as a starter and scare them off? Possible. But Husso, in my mind, Husso was never. Husso wasn't as good. Husso was a beneficiary. Oh, man, I don't know how to say this the right way. Hoffer's greater than Husso. I do think that. I do absolutely believe that. Drzinko going back to Russia, only got a couple of goals now. And where did you hear this? I don't think he's going back to Russia. Where did you hear that he's going back to Russia? Right? I don't think so. I really don't think so. He's not proven himself as a guy who can handle the load yet. Yes and no. I think he has. Yeah, I think he has. Where did you hear that, Matt Lowe? I haven't heard anything. In fact, Samantha, who's very, very well connected to the Springfield, to the Thunderbirds, didn't say that. Well, yeah, he went to Russia for the summer. Okay. That doesn't mean he's not coming back. Right? He went home. He lives there. Players do it all the time. I think you're reading way too much into that. I disagree with that. I disagree. I don't mean to get heated. I think that I think we read in too many times. We read into things that aren't there. Right? Face value. Guy went home. Right? No different than me going to St. Louis. Right? For a couple of months. No different. And not only that, he's a young kid. He's only 22. Right? He's still young. Doesn't speak a lot of English. This, staying here in the summer may not be comfortable for him. He might need a reset. I do think he is. I really do think he is. I think tandem-wise, the Blues are sitting in the top 3 or 4 in the league. Right? Hoffer, and I said this, played at his numbers, and I felt that Bennington played better than his numbers. 30 games is not 50 games. Can Hoffer make that transition? You know what? Bennington did it without ever being a backup, basically. Right? So, yeah, he can. Right? Hold on a second. Oh, my goodness. Where do I have this stuff at? I had all this stuff up and I took it down for some reason. Now you guys got me questioning everything about me. What is that site? Can't remember the site. What is the RFA not getting signed? I mean, that again, reading way too much. That happens all the time. A lot of RFAs, especially in the minors, sign late all the time. Not a big deal. What is the site for the, what do you call it? Ranger, is that Ryan Green? Is that you? That's saying waiting for the message. This might take a while, so it's not coming in yet. Now I know. It's not coming in yet. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay, yeah. Now that makes sense. I didn't know who you were, to be honest. I've seen like of him go. Okay, and it's possible, but could you be reading something into it, Matt? That's what I'm asking. Because it seems to me like you are. There's been nothing said about him not coming back. Nothing. Right? What is the site for salary cap now? It used to be Cappedia, and then it got changed, and now I can't find my. I'm getting mad at myself here for not figuring things out. Puckpedia, is that it? There we go. I just found it. There we go. Man, I don't trust 80% of Google. So here we go. Non-rostered goalies. Yeah, Drzinko's an RFA with. Oh, he's arbitration eligible. That's why. So yeah, and no, Drzinko's going to be back. Right? He's going to be back. I don't have a. I'm actually. He's 24. Yeah, he's going to be back. He's going to be back. Right? I absolutely see him being back. Absolutely see him being back. Right now, it's showing we have $5 million in cap space, but I don't think that's not the new cap number. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's a new cap number. Oh, actually, it is. Okay. 22 players with 41 players under contract. Okay. Maybe I'm a little off. Okay. I still think, oh man. See, what do we got here? Well, I mean, he's not going to get much more than a minimum anyways for a year or two. If Hoffer is the Blues' next goalie, then trade Ben. No, and keep Hoffer for less money, because if we think he is the next Blues goalie, then make him that. If another team is going to give Hoffer started money. Shouldn't the Blues look at that? Great point. It is. It is a really good point. I guess I'm on a limb out here. I didn't think I would be. I thought more people would see my way, but I guess I'm on a limb. First of all, look at these finals, right? Why is Florida going to win the cup for the second straight year? But Bosky is that guy. He's that goalie, and you don't need all-world guys. You got two of them, maybe three, but you don't need all-world guys if you've got that goalie. And to be honest, the Blues should have beat Winnipeg with an all-world goalie. We don't need – I seen something, with the Mitch Marner stuff, right? Rutherford, there was an article in The Athletic and each team about whether or not they should pursue Marner. And one of the things that Rutherford had said was that he didn't think the Blues were that close to being contenders. I think they're one, maybe two players away. Do I want Marner? No, but I think we're that close. I really do. Because that's who I am, man. Love me or hate me, that's who I am. I get petty over the smallest of things. Wow. I really thought more people were going to be on my side here. I think he had a bad year. That's all. At 24 and struggling with the language, I think he had a bad year. Maybe some time in Russia will help him. I still kind of high on him. I don't know if they have the overall better team. I know that you can't win with a goalie like that. Skinner, in my eyes, is a below average goalie, right? I don't believe you can win with him in net. I believe his shortcomings are going to come back and bite you sooner or later. And it seems like they have this finals. John Hefner and Shane Dilbert, thank you. Ellis is fun to watch. I know that much. Fair enough. Right? I don't know. I'm looking at this. This is the way I see it. Right? Possible. I don't completely know that, but possible. My thing with Marner. So first of all, I'm in another chat. I kept saying that he's chasing a ring, and I got told no. And then today, Andy Strickland put out a thing that said, actually, you might be able to see. Yeah, here it is. I don't believe Mitch Marner leaving Toronto is about chasing the biggest contract. So much focus has been about him possibly being paid $14 million or more. Truly believe this is about a chance, change the scenery and a fresh start. He's been paid crazy money for several years. Don't think he's chasing the biggest contract as much as he is a chance to win elsewhere. And I absolutely agree with that. And I think that's where you're gonna see him go with teams that are 1 to 2 years away. Agreed. Absolutely agreed, Chris. Absolutely agreed. Right? Hoffer, I think, could steal some games. Right? I do think, and I've said this, I felt like Hoffer played 10 days of the stupid NFL style NHL draft. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting draft, that's for sure. Not sure I'm completely happy with it. Oh, I agree. I've been on this. This is why when Ryan Green was saying, oh, it's you know, Ryan Green was all lovey-dovey on Berube. Berube damn near destroyed Kyrou. Right? And I don't think he will. I don't. I honestly don't. If I'm the Blues, I don't know. I would, maybe his agent called him and says, hey, I know where you're at, but is this is the kind of money we're looking at? Would you be willing to look at it? Da 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 da. I don't know, maybe. Right? So yeah, it's a question mark. Big question mark. And would Marner fit in? And that's the question I don't know. Another conversation we had was that Fosca conversation, right? Someone asked me, Thomas Mulville asked me, well, who else? Who do you got name-wise? And I don't have a name per se, but I do remember this. There was a game against Utah. Now, the Blues ended up winning that game 2-0. That was the last time that Walker was a healthy scratch. I remember the first half of that game thinking, oh my goodness, that team does not look the same. You could tell Walker was not in the lineup. And the proof of that was he never missed the lineup again. And you go, well, how many times 2 days before or 2 games before that against Dallas, he was a healthy scratch and they lost 2-0. And I remember that game thinking, oh my goodness, Walker's not playing. You can tell it. So I think if you get a high energy center, you don't need to pay him $3.5 million, $3.25 million to be a fourth line center. As long as he's got energy that matches Walker's. Because when Walker was out, Fosca was still there, Torpachenko was still there, and the energy wasn't. Even though Chief wasn't coaching, he got progressively better under him. Kyrou? No, he didn't. Well, he did and he didn't. Okay. Yeah, that's a yes and a no. That's a yes and a no. I understand what you're saying now. Right? His numbers were better, but you constantly heard his offensive numbers were better, but you constantly heard what would Chief do? I remember one game, Kyrou had 3 points, was the first star in the game, and the last words out of Berube's mouth was, when asked a question about Kyrou, he said, yeah, it was great, he got the 3 points, but he had those 2 turnovers in the second. He was a plus player this year, wasn't he? I think he was a plus player this year. Oh, they're pulling Marchand off the ice. Or no, not Marchand, Reinhardt. I want to say he was a plus player this season. Krug. Now, you brought up Krug before, right? There is something to understand about the LTIR, right? When you put a guy on LTIR, depends on how much of that salary you get back. If you put him on before the season starts, you do not get the entire salary back. Right? You do not get that entire salary back. You get, I think, like 80% of it back if you put him on early. So, and if you remember, we ran into this during the COVID season with Hoffman. We put him on a 10-day tryout and couldn't sign him until the day the season started when we put Steen on LTIR and freed up Steen's money. I mean, I don't know how that has any relevance to what I said, but whatever. Okay. Matt Lowe, sometimes I don't know if you're just arguing with me to argue with me, or you just want to see me get pissed off. I don't know. And I've been trying to get better at that. I really have. Right? I've been going through groups. I've been doing some, work per se about trying to see things differently. I'm not going to put your comment up there, but I kind of agree with you. Right? And I just don't want to cause I liked Berube at first. I really did. But the bubble playoffs, when we had the bubble playoffs, we should have swept Vancouver. We were the best team in the West. And we came into that and we played like dog shit. We played absolutely horribly. There was zero buy-in. There was zero connection. There was zero want at all. Nothing. None. And I had a conversation with 3 Blues reporters, and one of them slipped something that made me go, aha, I get it. And while it wasn't, quote, well, I was never, quote, told it was off the record, I understood it was. And I've repeated it to only like 2 people that I really, really, really trust. And I won't repeat it other than that. Right? What the Blues this year will be interesting because they have so many guys they need to sign after this season. Well, really, after this season, I think they only have 2 guys they need to sign. And that's the difference here. And this is what I was trying to get at, where everybody was saying, oh, you need to save all that money for Boberg and Howe. No, they're it. Everyone else that you, quote, think that's going to be, so the UFAs next year, Fowler and Leddy. Fowler, I have no problem signing. Leddy, let him go. Joseph, let him go. Right? Trade him this year. Torpachenko, if you can keep him cheap, keep him cheap. Sundqvist, let him go. Bolduc, RFA, you're going to re-sign him. Walker, if you can keep him cheap, sign him. If not, let him go. I don't know what they do with Fosca, but I'm not paying him $3.25 million again. Boberg's the RFA. Yes, you need to sign him. Holloway's the RFA. You need to sign him also. Texier, let him walk. Right? and the money that you get saved right there. And you've got guys in the system. That's the thing. The Blue system right now has guys. Right? Everyone liked Berube, but you could tell that he was defensive. 3-0. Yeah, they're winning this one today. Even Toronto had a hard time scoring against Florida. At least have dynamic offensive players. You should be stepping up. Well, yeah, he puts that. He puts so much. Defensive hockey doesn't win in the NHL. It really doesn't. I don't think you need that much. I don't think you need that much. You really think that much? Break that down for me. Break that down for me. I think that's really high. I think that's really high. I think Boberg, who's making $4 million now, right? Boberg at 4.5, I think maybe goes up to 6, right? Maybe 6.5. Maybe he gets the same thing that Parayko and Falk are getting, right? He gets Krug's money, basically, right? Then Holloway at 2.2, maybe he jumps to 4.5. But I don't see him getting Shin money at 6.5, and I don't see him getting Kyrou Thomas Buchnevich money at 8 or 8.1. I don't see that. I see 5 right now, unless he has a huge year next year and he has 40 goals. Almost a point per game at 23. Boberg, top 4 defenseman with offensive upside, solid defense, both elite skaters. Okay, fair enough. But you're talking about, so right now, the two of them are at $6 million, right? A little over that, almost, 6.5. So Holloway is 2.2, 4.5. So they're at 6.7, maybe 6.8, right? Yeah, it's about 6.8. And you're talking about them getting, between them, a $9 million pay raise. I don't see that. I'm sorry, I don't see a $9 million pay raise. I don't. I think you're way high. I do. I'm sorry, bud. I think you're way high. I think between the two of them, you could look right around 10 or 11 million and sign them both for 3 to 5 year contracts. Right? Matt, that's kind of where I think the Blues will need to make a choice. Falk will need to go. I don't think Falk will go. Blues can't afford Parayko, Falk, Bloberg, and Fowler. So either you don't sound Fowler or you trade Falk. Okay, Fowler I think you get at a discount. Right? Fowler is in it to win. And if he feels the Blues are at that point where they make a run, they make the second round or even the third round next season, you're getting him for a discount. Falk, I think same thing. Right? I think Falk. Well, see, next season, Falk's at 6.5. Again, with Krug going away, you pay Boberg Krug's money. And you've got nothing to worry about. Fowler at $4 million, I think you keep him there. I think for 2 more years, you keep Fowler at $4 million. You got Letty leaving next season. You could probably trade Letty and use Letty's money for Fowler. So maybe you give him 5. We have guys in the system, Tucker, Kessel, and a few others, that can come up. That can absolutely come up. At least 5, maybe. Maybe next. See, I'm not completely sold on that. And I get it. Steve, I get it, man. I do, and I see where you're coming, but I'm not completely sold on that because I think if they make a run next year, Fowler's chasing a cup, hometown discount. If he thinks he can win a cup in St. Louis, if we make it past the second round, if we're in the top 3 in the division, if we move that far up, if we move into the top 3 in the division, yes, I absolutely think that he's going to, the guy is family oriented. Here's the other thing. You're talking about a guy that's family oriented. And the one thing that you have heard about the Blues organization is how family oriented they are. In fact, I can only think of one player in the past 5 years, 6 years, maybe 7 years, maybe go back 10 years, that is left, that was family oriented, that decided not to stay. And the reason that he left is because his wife was from St. Louis. Had everything to do with it. Not completely sure about that, but maybe. Right? Not completely sure about that, but maybe. $5 million. I'd be okay with $5 million. You still got $3 more million because you're taking. So you have the $4 million that Letty's $4 million's going away, right? It goes away, so you've got that, and then you take $1 million of that and put it to Fowler, and you still got $3 more million to play with. Hell, you could even go to 5 or 6 and still have $2 million, $2.5 million to play with. I really do think that there are some huge options here, but I don't think that you need to break the bank for Holloway and Boberg. Matt, you got to break down that $16 million for me, because I just don't see it. I don't see a $10 million pay raise for those 2 players. Maybe you had a third player in there and I could see it. Other guys like Falk and Parayko are getting over $6 million, and they did not play Fowler. Yes and no. Parayko's injury. I think if Parayko's not injured, he outplays Fowler. Because later in the season, he did. And in the playoffs, I think he did. Right? But, actually, no, because Fowler led the team in points. Offensively, but, yeah, okay. I'm going to back off on that. You might be right. But at the same time, age plays into it. And you look at the age of what those guys were when they got those contracts. Right? And I think that plays into it some. Right? Fowler's 33. Right? So the fact that Parayko, Falk, and Krug all got those contracts, those 6.5 contracts when they were younger, makes me think that the 6.5 isn't on the table. Right? Parayko got his, we got him till 2030. I don't remember when he actually signed that deal. Let's see here if I can bring it up when he signed it. I know they have things where they show when they signed it. Yeah, 8 years, 22. So he signed it in 22. So he was 28. Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Right? I'm going to, because the cap is going up, Holloway is basically Kyrou. Boberg is a young, reliable defenseman. And every year they get, without getting signed, they're going to cost more. But not 10 million more, bud. Not 10 million more. And yes, I do agree that Holloway could be like Kyrou, but he ain't there yet. And Kyrou didn't sign that big ass contract until he was 25, I think, or 24. Right? Man, I could be off a little bit, but do you see Holloway getting $6 million more? Do you see Holloway going from let me see something. My thing just screwed up. Here we go. Do you see? I don't see Holloway going from, because he's not a UFA. Here's the thing. He's not a UFA till 29, 30. Same with Boberg. That time there, that's when they get the 8 mil. Not yet. I'm going to stick with what I was saying. I agree, Chris. I absolutely agree. They're at 6 million now. You bump them up to, a total of 10 million, 9 million. Okay. For the 3 years. If we have Thomas, Kyrou, Holloway, and Bolberg as our core, with Snuggerud and Dvorsky coming up, Bolduc, Neighbors producing, Boberg leading the back with 55. I absolutely love that, Matt. Matt, I love that. Yeah, it's going to go to 90 million. It's going up like $4 million. Right? We have 5 million now. The day the season starts, we will have 11 million, depending on what happens. Right? You got to remember that Krug, unless Krug retires, which I don't think he will, because if he retires, he doesn't get his entire paycheck. He doesn't get his entire paycheck. And the other thing is the Blues don't even pay that paycheck. The insurance will pay his paycheck. So we have money counting against us that we're not even paying. I covered that. They give Holloway a bridge deal. Holloway's a top 6 player, if not a first-line player. See him at $6 million at the moment. Not from 2 mil. Not from 2.5 mil. That's a 200% pay raise. And I'm not ready to give him that for 3 years. I'm not ready to go there. And in fact, I'll say this. If I could get 2 first-round picks for him, which is what that would give me, amen, brother. Okay? Get signed to an offer sheet twice. With the cap going up, $8 million for Thomas, Rousey, Howard, and Boberg is a dream deal going forward. Oh, well, we're paying. Well, yeah, but the thing is, Matt Lowe, they're not UFA. They're not UFAs for 4 more years. You still got time. You don't need them. You don't need to spend that money now. Because if you spend that money now, when it really matters, it's going to cost a lot more. You don't spend that money now. So if Snoogie goes into a dry spell, do you send him down or you make him play through it here? I would send him down. I don't think he will. I think because he did 3 years in college, I think that, and he played championship level hockey in college. And I also think, and I know Lance would hate me for this. Oh my goodness, I wish Lance was here so he could tear me apart. But I think that the NCAA is getting a lot closer to the minor leagues in level of play. I really, really do. And you looked at what Snooki did while he was here. The first game he was you could tell he was nervous, but he got in there quick and he played his role, right? And he didn't try and do too much. A lot of times you get rookies, they try and do too much. If I had one criticism of Bull Duke, it would be I felt he tried to do too much. No, he's on a one-way. He's on a one-way. But he can still go down. He's still eligible to go down. All right? He's still on an entry-level deal. Right? Snuggerud is still on an entry-level contract, so he can go down. I don't think he's on a two-way. I think he's on a one-way. I'll find out for you here in a second. Give me just a moment. I'm looking him up. Entry level. Yeah, he's on a one way. It sounds like he's on a one way. So, yeah, he's on a one way. And he's at a little under $1 million. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. All right. Good conversation so far. Two things. Holloway is an RFA. The price will be raised if the Blues let him get to the market. Two, what Armstrong did signing him will cause teams to want to do it to the Blues. I disagree with that. I don't think so. It would be to the Blues' advantage to lock them up early. I do agree with that. Holloway and his agent know this. I do agree with most of that. The thing is, what is somebody willing to pay him? And at what point, and then let's go back to that thing that Lance sent me that I had played up here. Actually, I think it was, give me a second, bud. Give me a second, and I'll try and bring it up again. Here we go. So, okay. Let's put it this way. Let's say someone offers Holloway next season, which is supposed to be a deep draft, by the way, or a good draft, offers him $8 million. Now, the numbers will go up, but using this year's terms, you would get a first, second, and third round pick for Holloway in a deep draft. And again, here's the thing. A team can offer it all they want. The player still has to sign it. If a team comes along, the player doesn't like it, and they offer it, if the San Jose Sharks come along, or if Buffalo comes along, or one of the Canadian teams that these guys don't like going and playing for in some cases, comes along and offer, doesn't mean he'll sign it. That's the other part of this that I think gets missed. I agree. I don't see him getting, but he could. And if he does, okay. Maybe. I'm kind of on board with that, bud. I I think it is too. That's the other part of this, right? That's why I don't want you to overpay for it. Snuggy's on a one-way. He would need to no, he does not need to clear waivers. He does not need to clear waivers. He is still on an entry-level contract. He does not need to clear waivers. He has 5 send-downs. He does not need to clear waivers. I think that's too much of a raise. I really do. Again, next year, the cap's going up to 9. Here's the other thing. You're talking this year's money. Next year, the year that the money counts, the cap's going up to 94 million. So there's going to be more there, right? I don't hate Holloway. I don't believe in overpaying for players. I want to make sure that you're not just throwing money at a player, right? And that's fair enough, Steve, but that's the thing that I think that's what I'm trying to put out here is to look at this or look at this not emotionally, logically. I think too many people are looking at this emotionally, and emotionally, no, Stephen, it's not. What a one-way contract is they get paid the exact same amount in the NHL and the AHL. It does not mean that you have to be put on waivers. When a player is first signed, when he's young, still in that RFA area, he's on an entry-level contract. And under that entry-level contract, he has a certain amount of times he can be sent down and not be not waivers eligible. He would not be waivers eligible, right? Snugard would not be waivers eligible right now. A one-way contract only deals with how he is paid, not whether or not he can get sent down, and not whether or not he can go on waivers. He's still under an entry-level contract. Go look at Puckpedia, because that's what I'm looking at, right? Yeah, he's still a restricted free agent. He's signed to a 3-year contract with the cap hit and $950,000 playing for. He's contract expired at the end of. Yeah, he's on an entry level contract, right? And yeah, he can still go down to the minors without being put on waivers. Right? He can still go down without being put on waivers. Wow, I just thought I was going to come on for like 30 minutes, but not an hour so far. Hey, I got at least 6 people. Laura Brandon, Sean Roberts, Stephen Glass, E. Guido, John Hefner, Shane Dilbert, thank you. Right? Like I said, we had a good conversation in the group. And and for me, sometimes just typing, and I know I like to be a writer, but trying to type all that, especially on the phone, or because I'm seeing this when I'm driving or doing other things, it's hard for me. I prefer this method of communication. You have him next season for about 2.5. He got 63 points for you and played a part in your PP, third on the team in points. Sign him now for cheaper or let him pop off again and sign him up next season. Okay, well, here's what I think is going to happen, Matt Lowe, right? They're not going to sign him prior to the season starting. I don't think that happened. I think somewhere in the season, somewhere around the halfway point, so January, somewhere around January, February, they sit down with his agent and say, okay, now we know what we got. This is what we're willing to offer. What do you think? And go from there. Now, I will say this. Last season, I thought the same thing with Neighbors, and within 3 or 4 days of the start of the season, Neighbors signed his. Right? And I was completely wrong on that one. Right? I think it will be before the trade deadline. I really do. Let's put it this way. If I'm Broberg and Holloway, I don't sign now. I take a gamble on myself. Especially when you're in a team that wants you. Take that gamble on yourself. Right? Hoffer has to be signed before the start of the season. Right? Before the start of training camp. And he will. He will. I really think he will. And I brought this up before, and Lance disagrees with me, but I've heard it from some players, former players, who have told me that yes, this happens. And I've actually heard it in some of the podcasts out there. Offer sheets, per se, happen a lot more than we think. What happens is a team reaches out to an agent and says, hey, we're thinking of offer sheeting your player, and this is what we're willing to go. Would you sign it? And the agent goes, let me talk to my player. Then the agent turns around, calls the team that he's on, says, hey, this is what we've got. Are you willing to match it? Now, and we'll just sign the contract and be done with it. Or do you want, or not? And I think a lot of times if the money's in that range that the team was at, they say, sure, we'll just do it and get it done with. And I think that's what happens a lot. I think that's what's going to happen with Hoffer. I think there's a team out there that is going to call his agent. Because the thing with an offer sheet, you can put an offer sheet out there all day long. Until the player signs it, it don't mean a damn thing. And that's the part that we forget. Until that offer sheet is signed, it doesn't mean a damn thing. Yes, they can. Absolutely they can, because they can negotiate, they can talk to, you don't just throw the offer sheet. You talk with the player on the offer sheet ahead of time. You can negotiate the offer sheet. You absolutely can. Florida, 17 minutes away from repeating. Right? Got to wrap my head around going and driving tonight. I drove last night for 6 hours, and I want to try to do a full night tonight. Just got to wrap my head around it. Well, last season they could have sent him down too, but it was because of when. Well, yeah, and that date is the start of free agency. Once free agency starts, that's when it's fair deal. Right? So free agency starts the day after the draft, if I remember correctly. For the most part, I think you're correct, E. For the most part, St. Louis has a very strong reputation, has a players team amongst in the league. I don't think so, Steve. I don't, because no. See, that's no. I say because we had never. Here's where I think you're getting confused. If he would have not signed his entry level with us, he would have become a free agent. When you draft a player, you hold their rights for 3 years. I think that's what you're thinking about. When you sign him, when you just sign a player on a entry-level contract, you do not have to waive them to send them down to the minors. I know this for a fact. I know this from the CBA. They have, I think it's 5 send-downs in 2 years or something like that. Right? He would not have had to clear waivers. He could have become a free agent if he didn't sign the deal with us. If he would have went back for his senior season, we'd have lost him and got no compensation for it. And Edmonton's just throwing everything at it. Right? I know that. That's that 3-year thing. But I'm telling you, Snuggerud does not have to clear waivers on an entry-level contract, especially on the first entry-level contract. You do not have to clear waivers. Because if that was the case, you'd lose the player. You'd lose a player that you need, that needs the time. You would lose him. Teams would snatch him right up. So I know that. I know for a fact, Steve. I know for a fact you're getting confused on something. No, Steve. I'm not. I think you're wrong. I'm just going to say that. I think you are incorrect there. Because if he would have had to clear waivers last season, he would have had to clear waivers this season. Because he's older now. I don't think he would have had to clear waivers at all. Once he signed that first entry-level contract, you do not have to clear waivers. I'm 98% certain of that. Right? Almost 98% certain of that. Well, guys, I need to get my head wrapped around driving. I want to get out by 5. This game should be over by then. So I'm going to go ahead and call this. Thanks for coming on tonight. Impromptu. Just wanted to talk about what things was going on. Very true. But both those guys will still be hold on a sec. Both those guys will still have a few more years before they're in their UFA area. So waivers eligibility. I'm looking at this right here, bud, on his contract, exempt. On this entire contract, he is exempt. Right? Here we go. What is waivers eligibility? Waivers eligibility determines, here we go. Here we go. Right? Oops, that doesn't work. Do it this way. Pull this off so you can see it. Waivers eligibility determines when a player must pass through waivers before being sent to the minors. Eligibility depends on the player's age, position, games played, and years since signing their first NHL contract. Age when player signed. A player's age at the time of signing their first NHL affects how long they are exempt from waivers. A younger player will get more time before needing to clear waivers. For example, an 18-year-old player is exempt for 5 years, while a player age 25 or older is only exempt for 1 year. Once a player reaches a certain number of NHL games, their waiver exemption ends. For skaters, this is typically 160 games. For goalies, it's up to 80 games. After reaching this limit, they must clear waivers before being sent to the minors. Waiver exemptions last for a specific number of years depending on the player's age at signing. For instance, a player signed at 18. So we did that. Previously cleared. If a player has previously cleared waivers and hasn't played more than 10 or more NHL games or been on an NHL roster for 30 consecutive days since clearing, they remain exempt from waivers. Note, we're not exemptions on this page. So right there, right? And here's all the guys that are exempt. These are all the guys that you can send down without putting them on waivers. Right? Snuggerud, right there. He's only 20 years old. Right? Does that answer the question, bud? Oh, you're welcome. I try and address everybody's questions. Sometimes I don't. All depend. All right. I wanted to continue that conversation that we were having in the group because it was really good. And I wish we had more conversations like that on the show. And that's what I was trying to do today. And if it got a little heated, I didn't mean to. It's kind of hard. Now, I want to put this out. I want you to understand. I want you guys to understand this a little bit, right? I want you guys to understand this. When it's just me talking and only reading your comments, I don't get the tone of your comment. I have to guesstimate what that tone was. And from knowing some of you, I immediately think that the tone is aggressive or combative. There are others that I don't. And that does make it somewhat difficult and may make it seem like I'm being combative. Oh, now McDavid's crying about something. Oh, he hurt me. Right? So I just want to bring that out. This is one of the reasons I keep asking to get someone to come on with me. Because it helps. It helps with that. It gives me a sounding board, something to bounce off of. And somebody else seeing the comment and interpreting it the best way. Well, I know that. That's why when I read all your stuff, I'm trying to determine, are you being Matt Lowe? Are you being a total dickhead? Are you just trying to rile me up? Do you honestly believe what you're saying? I mean, I have to interpret all of that in one of your comments. And sometimes I'm going to get it wrong. Does that make sense? I think that number's a lot higher, bud. Like 80% of the time? 90% of the time? I wish we had Morton on here, the Mortonator on here. He'd tell you. Hey man, it was an impromptu thing, bud. It was an impromptu thing. I wanted to talk about some of the conversations we were having in the group and just jumped on. I even put in the group that I was going on. So that's not my fault. I know, man. Guys, thank you. Again, I'd like to have more conversations like this. I really would. I want to have more conversations like this because they're important. They're extremely important. And not only that, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there. I try my best to give you my honest, heartfelt opinions and factual understandings. I try to take the emotion out of it, with the exception of Tarasenko. That's why I don't talk. That's why when the stuff about Tarasenko came up, I backed off, because emotionally, I cannot separate that from fact. So I know that when it comes to Tarasenko, I got to back off that a little bit. There's other players that I have an emotional investment to. Kyrou, absolutely. I have an emotional attachment to Kyrou, and I know when people throw their crap out there that I'm going, and I try and keep it factual. I know I have an emotional attachment, but I try and keep it factual. No, I did not see that. Send it to me. I think the Blues are going to have a hell of a season next year. I think they're going to challenge for the division. I think they're going to be the top 3. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that. I think that this is a team that is ready, and they showed it. I think the sting of that Game 7 is going to motivate them during the summer. Damn, guys, I'm trying to get off, and I said 10 minutes ago I wanted to get off. No issues, man. None whatsoever. Man, we were just talking about you. I'm trying to get off, and now everybody's coming on, so now I can't get off. I don't think it'll be hard to keep them from winning the division, but I do think they're going to challenge for the division. I think that they are second or third in the division next year. Right? I kind of feel like Dallas is going to take a step forward. I think, well, the Ottinger thing scares me a lot in Dallas. The Ottinger thing, well, they got a new coach too. They fired their coach, I think. So the new coach and the Ottinger thing kind of scares me a little bit. Right? Colorado, I think, is going to go take a step backwards. Minnesota might take a step forward. They're going to have some opportunity there, especially now that they cleared up some money on Marc-Andre Fleury. They're going to have some opportunities there. Winnipeg is the question mark. Winnipeg is a big question mark for me. Right? If Edmonton had a better goalie, this series wouldn't have gone 6 games. This series would have ended in 5 for Edmonton. Right? Oh, see, that's not what I said. I said we shouldn't sign him at the crazy, stupid-ass money you want to sign them for. Don't go putting words in my mouth that are wrong there, dumbass. Fuckweed. How many? When did I say it? I'm asking everybody out there. Now I know he's being a dumbass. Now I know he's being a dumbass. Because I didn't talk about any of that, you fuckweed. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you see that first comment, right? How do you interpret that? Now, once I see the second comment, I understand. But I've got to interpret this without that. That is exactly what I was talking about. I thank you, Matt Lowe. You've proved my point. Exactly. Right? You proved my point. Exactly what I was talking about. How I have, when I see these comments, why I get combative sometimes. Right? Seeing this without this makes me combative. Seeing this goes, okay, now I know you're being a dumbass. Now I knew you're being a fuckweed. Uh, Robert, this is the one place where you can be the a-hole you are, and we love you for it, buddy. Robert, you are always on my favorite friend list, man. You will always be there. You have stood behind me thick and thin, my friend, since the beginning when I was doing guys pregame rants. The first shows, you've been there. So I'm always on your side, bud. I've grown, your kids have grown up knowing who I was. Plain and simple. Well, this game's over. Why do you pull your goalie in the Stanley Cup Finals down 3-0 with 6:34 left? That was absolutely stupid. I absolutely mean them, Bob. Right? I absolutely mean them. Your kids know who I am, and I'm not the Hawaii Blues. I'm Uncle Guy. I'm their uncle, and that's how they see me, and that's because of you, and that's from the beginning. I remember when I would do the shows and make the recommendation, make my scores, and be dead on, and your kids the next day going, how'd he do that? Right? Yes, Matt. You have, my friend, and yes, I know that sometimes you just try and fire me up, and I get that. uh, yeah. Yep, Florida's going to lift it again. Right? Florida's going to lift it again. You guys are going to make me stay on here until it's over with. Damn, man. Good conversation, though. It was a good conversation. Yes, I'm not going to agree with you guys all the time, and you're not going to agree with me, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The difference is I have this platform where you hear my voice. I don't hear yours. This is why I have an open invitation to people who are consistently on this show to come on and join me. Open invitation. Get a hold of me because it changes the conversation. Right? The conversation we just had about free agents and about what the Blues should do. Go look at any other group and you're not going to find that type of conversation. And you're not going to find that type of back and forth where you're going, okay, this and okay, that. Right? Do I want to sign Boberg and Holloway? Absolutely. Do I want to sign them for $16 million between the two of them? Absolutely not. Right? Yeah, you got me at the end, man. I never agree with you, even if we have the same ideology, because I know you do the same. No, if you say, I've agreed with you on the show. You said things that I agree with. I have no problem signing Boberg and Holloway. I don't sign them for $16 million. Kachuk getting his second cup. Wow. And to think COVID stole our second cup. COVID stole a second cup from the Blues. Absolutely it did. I believe that so much. That COVID, the reaction to COVID. Oh well. Where are we at here? I really like how they do this exempt thing on here. Bolduc's only got one more season where he's waiver eligible. Hey, man, I do the best I can, buds. I really do. No, I don't think so. I think that's an overpay, especially when, here's the thing. You've got so much time before they're actually UFAs. And by the time they're UFAs, the amount the cap's going to go up. No, no, not now. I don't think now's the time to do that. Thanks, Bub. So right now, Bob, what we're talking about is Boberg and Holloway next season are RFAs. Currently, the two of them are making right at just under $7 million. Right? Just under. Is that right? I had it earlier. Let me go back here. Let me go back here and look at the numbers again. Holloway is 2.2, 4.5, so 6.8 million. They're making 6.8 million. And Matlow wants to give them a $10 million, between the two of them, a $10 million raise. Well, they did. That's it. Reinhardt, I think Reinhardt just hat tricked it. No, didn't hat trick it. 5:05 to go. Empty net down 5-0. What stupid. That's just, you're just giving it away. Now you're just giving it away. That's not the money I want to spend. Not now. Not at this point in their career. It's too early for you to put that money to them. They've got they've had one good year. I don't think they've earned it. Who's going to come off the books? Because that matters too. Seems like a large raise. Well, so this year the cap goes up to 90. Next year it goes up to 94 or 95 million. So you've got that too, right? You've got that extra 5 million there. And then you've got a bunch of guys coming off the books next season, right? Next season, you have Joseph coming off the books. I think he's going to get traded before then. You have Torpachenko coming off the books. You have Sundqvist coming off the books. Walker coming off the books, but I think Walker gets re-signed. You have Bolduc's in an RFA also. Texier, who's an RFA. Texier, I don't think they re-sign. I think they let him go. You have Fowler at $4 million coming off the books. You have Letty coming off the books. Kessel, unless he plays this season, will be a Group 6 UFA. He will forego his RFA and become a straight UFA. And then Krug's money comes off the books. Matt Lowe, I think you're so wrong there, bud. Oh wow, they scored 5-1. Now pulling the goalie makes it look bad, right? They're not going to ask for trades, but they're going to want a better goalie. That's all it's going to come down to. Skinner's not the guy. Right? McDavid's not getting the Conn Smythe again. Wouldn't that be messed up if he's the first ever player to win the Conn Smythe twice and is a losing player? I don't think he gets the Conn Smythe this time. The guy I think gets it's going to drive me crazy. You know what? I'm on board with this. I'm on board with Show Me and I'll Pay because Steen had a great season. We paid him and never lived up to that. I agree with that. I'm not underestimating them. I'm saying now's not the time to make that commitment. I think you've got to wait. I think you have time available to you, right? And you give it. Here's the thing: you give them that much now when they are real free agents and in the prime at that 28-year-old mark, which is right around prime, 28 to 32. They're going to cost you way more than you can afford, and you're going to have to let them go. Right? Bobert's 23. They're a little older than I thought. Oh, they're both 23. Yeah. No, I still wait. I still wait. Still wait. Still wait. Who do you think gets the Conn Smythe? I know who I think's going to get it, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm absolutely wrong. Let me see something here real quick. Yeah, one of those. That's I think Marshawn. God, that would put such a stain on that trophy, in my eyes. Yeah, I don't think you can give it to Connor again. I'm trying to do something here. I'm not doing a good job at it. Reinhardt, 11 goals. I don't know how many assists he's got. Oh, Reinhardt did get a hat trick. I didn't even see him put hats on the ice. Did you? He did get a hat trick and didn't even put. I don't think they put hats on the ice. I did too, bud. Yeah, I know. I agree with that, Matt Lowe. Reinhardt had a 4-goal game. Wow. I don't know when was the last time that happened. In a finals, in a clinching game, clinching finals. Wow. That's what the Oilers get for pulling the goalie that late. That early. I should say late, that early. Right. Trying to look at something here real quick. Where's Marchand at? So he's got no points today. $20 points. Chuck's got 22. Bennett's 22. He might have picked up 1 or 2 tonight. Reinhardt. I think Reinhardt gets it. I kind of, after 4 goals tonight, I think Reinhardt gets it. Right? I think Reinhardt might get it. I really do think Reinhardt might get it. There we go. And Fleur. Oh man, they're already on that. Too many men on the ice. Wow, they won this. They won it last year at home. They're building it. They're building it, and they could. Bennett with the Consmy. Okay, guys. Now I really got to go. I got to get ready to work. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Hour and 40 minutes. Didn't expect it. Is what it is. Thank you. Have a great night. This is Guy saying aloha mahalo, and I'll see you next time on the Blue Note Fan Report.